Women's Power to Heal Mother Earth. I am Maya Tiwari. In this series called I Am Shakti, which is the title of my new book, which is published by Zero Books in the UK and available now in the US as well. It is on pre-order at Amazon.com. Having said that, I want to explore and to make clear what this energy is about and why it is our best and most efficient lifeline to making the transformational changes we must do, especially as women, to restore the Shakti energy, our birthright of the feminine force, which has been misappropriated and stolen by patriarchal rule for so many aeons. The time is long overdue. And one of the reasons that we must reclaim it is for the preservation of our own purpose as humans in the humanity of consciousness. And of course, we cannot achieve this without the genders being completely unified as well. The major energies that support the universe, the balance of the universe, is the Shiva-Shakti energy. Shakti being the primordial feminine force, Shiva being the primordial masculine force. And let me explain this so we don't just equate each force with a gender. Each one of us possess both of these forces and energies within us. It happens to be in its most awakened stage, not only because of procreative abilities, but because of the intuitive ability that comes through the feminine female body, the woman's body. She is awakened to this energy. She is the material force behind creation, and she is born with it, imbued with it, and can never lose it, but we have forgotten it. In this episode, I want to talk about balance. The balance between the primordial feminine and masculine. Of course, likewise, the male constitution and calibration actually inhabit more of the Shiva or masculine primordial powers, and they have their own qualities because of that, the qualities of stability and holding together things, and of course supporting Shakti so that not only creation propagates, because without Shakti we're completely annihilated, completely non-existent. So basically the male support, the masculine primordial support more than just a gender, is so extremely important. We must understand both of these primeval energies in order to create balance, restore our Shakti energies as feminine, female, women, and also to create balance for all, for everyone, and for all genders. So the time is long overdue for Shiva-Shakti, the divine feminine, divine masculine, to stand as one unified force and reclaim its intrinsic power of alignment, and this alignment is within each one of us. We have been given and such poor instructions and belief systems over so many eons and so many traditions and so many cultures that we're simply living in performance rather than in the precognition of who we truly are. We do not comprehend the feminine and masculine divine, and as a result we experience the feminine and masculine divide. We find ourselves untethered from the universal energies that naturally compel our self-generating life force, not only to deal with and resolve challenges, but to live to our fullest purpose. We must recognize the lies that have been skillfully sifted into the recalibration of truth and relinquish the false construct handed down from our dysfunctional generation after generation. The veneration of the goddess, for instance, necessarily entails veneration of the god. And this has nothing to do with religion. This has to be with the substratum of energies given to life, to the life force itself, for all beings, human beings, all beings of our universe and of our world. As the Shiva-Shakti energy, we are two aspects of the same being. This principle is greater than our individual gender, and I want you to really truly remember this. Each human being holds the sacred staff of the feminine and masculine forces. The female gender contains the proactive Shakti energies, and the male gender possesses the proactive Shiva energies. As we lose touch with our primal nature, we sacrifice our innate heritage of unity, love, and wellness that all human beings possessed, or can be awakened to that possession, and we have been doing so for millennia. We pull apart the Shiva from the Shakti from the Shiva, not seeing, not knowing, not understanding that these two principles comprise the inseparable one, that one that we strive for, the one that has been spoken to from the beginning of civilization and before civilization as we know it, the one that refers to I am that consciousness, I am that sonic vibration, I am that universal sound, I am through that vibration and that universal sound the one, meaning consciousness. We can begin to disband patriarchy's falsehood by choosing not to subscribe to the illusions that have been fiercely concretized into what we conjure and buy into as reality. Patriarchies are not the natural order of things. The battle of the sexes was engineered. Women do not have a biological imperative to be sweet and submissive, nor men inherently more aggressive. This principle of Shiva-Shakti vastly differs from society's interpretation of masculinity and femininity. Men and women tend to compete more than they collaborate. They perceive each other's weaknesses rather than the complementary characteristics that they do share, that are imbued intrinsically in each one of us. And so we are accustomed to betraying each other more than uplifting one another. And there is no simple way to assign blame or demand accountability. Endless generations of patriarchal lunacy have meticulously crafted the convolution of reality that engineered this divisive outcome. Fortunately, the veil of separation, fastened in place by perspectives and learnt behavior, is an illusion we can strip from our vision. It is possible to restore feminine masculine divinity and reclaim the sanctity of being a human person. But first, we must acknowledge that we have been shaped by fear-oriented societal, religious, and cultural moors. These moorings have honed behavior and belief system that do not serve the greater good of our nature. In fact, it kills it. It maims it. It breaks it. And therefore, the feelings of hopelessness and being lost and loneliness and alienation from everything, because no commercial venture, no commercial product, no commerciality that we live with as our reality can replace our purpose. And no amount of performance that they send us hither and thither to can rebuild that inner core, that Shiva-Shakti, that balance that we so desperately need in order to continue as a humanity. The energy that each gender carries is incredible. As we have seen in the Shiva-Shakti paradigm, the maternal feminine force Shakti manifests consciousness, and the masculine force Shiva holds this immutable power of awareness in a place of aesthetic and ecstatic balance. These juxtapositional energies are entirely supported within the body by prana, breath, that primordial life force. Of the innumerable conduits of prana continually flowing into our body from the astral channels of the universe, the solar and lunar channels in yoga philosophy, in Ayurveda philosophy, in Vedic philosophy, nourish the operational life force of the Shakti feminine and Shiva masculine principles respectively. These channels are aligned along the side of the spine, crossing over on each other at each chakra, but that is for a different podcast that I will be giving sometime soon. What we need to understand is the axial and vibrational force that is within the powers of Shiva and Shakti cannot be annihilated, nor can it be reformed, replaced, or recalibrated, but it can be forgotten through learnt behavior, learnt reality that has no reality whatsoever in it. So as we strengthen our vibratory field, and we'll talk about that again later, and I have spoken about Sang, the medicine, is what I call it, or inner healing medicines, which is through vibration and prana, breath work. These things I've talked to a lot over the last 2 years. I've been doing these podcasts, so you can go back to my previous podcast and listen to those information instructions, as it were. So as we strengthen our vibratory field, we are fostering unity between these two primordial energies within ourselves, while lighting up, illuminating our nature of unity and harmony, something that just pours out of us when we are in a state of balance with Shiva-Shakti energies within. Something that is just a given. It is a natural part of our aura or a natural vibration. Whatever we ooze out, we do not have to have practices to reclaim that. That is natural. We simply need to shift our understanding. Just one little shift in awareness, and we're there. We're there through the breath, through the vibration, back to reclaiming, restoring the Shiva-Shakti power of whom we truly are. Thank you for listening, and peace be your journey.